Go ahead, James.
Thank you, Kyndra, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today for the April CPS Coordinators Forum. As a reminder, the CPS Coordinators Forum will be bi-monthly to support the Educators Forum. I am James Fitzpatrick, Community Engagement Representative on the National Child Passenger Safety Board. It's my honor to serve as the moderator for today's CPS Forum. For those of you who are not already doing so, if you want to enter your state flower and Google it if you don't know it, like some of us, into the chat and where you're joining us from today. As a reminder, attendees are requested to not participate in this webinar if you are operating a motor vehicle. The forum will be recorded and you can listen to the recording when you safely arrive at your destination. The recording will be posted to cpsboard.org/state-coordinators/forum in 1 to 2 days. Knowing Kyndra, probably faster. All right, so we're going to be trying something new today, and we're really looking for some participation and some really great engagement today from you guys. This is something that a lot of coordinators have asked for, and that is to have some kind of more interactive discussions around some of the pressing issues. So what we've done today, and thank you Kyndra and Mandi for this wonderful idea, there is a QR code to a jot form on each slide. This is an open discussion. You can unmute, enter ideas and thoughts in the chat, or if you choose to remain anonymous, use the QR code. There is no limit to how many times users can complete the jot form. We welcome discussion and ideas, and we hope to build on these ideas for future forums. So we're going to kick off with our question number 1, which is simply, what do you want to talk about today? Ideas, classes, inspection stations, retention. Throw stuff on the jot form if you wish. You can throw it in the chat, whatever you want to do. We want to have some ideas. So to get us going, one of the first questions that we wanted to throw out and see if there was some discussion around is what marketing efforts are helping to improve turnout at events. And we have some special guests that I poked to try to help us today wherever they can. That would be Mandi, Anna, and Kristel. So if you guys want to chime in with any thoughts or ideas to get this going, but by all means, friends, anyone who wants to join the conversation, please, we want to hear your thoughts. There's no such thing as a bad idea because chances are if you have the question, someone else does too.
I can start off.
Sure.
Some of the marketing strategies that we do to help improve our turnout at events is we do like media press releases on the day of the event. So we get a lot of people attending the events because they've heard it through the morning news or whatever. We do coalition sharing, either at Safe Kids coalitions or traffic safety coalitions. We do social media. We even do Facebook Live at the events when we see that we're not having a good turnout. Somebody will turn on their Facebook Live and they'll start recording. We also do email blasts at a state level, to connect the local partners because the state agencies that we have that are granted, that are receiving funding from the state, they do an email blast. So those are just a couple of ideas that we do to market our events in Texas.
I see Aubrey posted about her Facebook events. I'm curious, what do you call it? Do you call it a checkup event? Do you call it a car seat event? How do you market it to the parents? What do you call it?
In our community, I end up calling it just a car seat check.
Okay.
A lot. Again, Delaware, we're really tiny. A lot of people know like what the CPS team in our office does. So we're in our state. It's also pretty rare to find techs at like fire and law enforcement a whole lot. So people are looking for the events from our office. So if I put car seat check in there, people will mark it, flag it, share it. And I really get a lot of response from actually just sharing the event page into those mom groups. Instead of just letting it sit and hoping people find it, I share it out to the specific groups that I know may be looking for it.
One follow-up question: how do you find your mom groups? What do you Google, or what do you?
Well, I gotta say, I was already in them from when my daughter was little.
Okay. Okay.
So, but like a lot of times, a lot of our areas will have, I live in Dover and there's a Dover mommy chat. And then a town south of us there's a Milford moms chat. So sometimes I've just tried to search like a city and then mom, and then it comes up with a group and request access.
And I do the same when I'm teaching tech courses, like out of my area, and I need to target for skills 4. I infiltrate the local moms group, and I'll just like look in the county on Facebook or the city, and when they want to make sure you live there, I just put a little note like, I don't live here, I'm just coming to teach, and I need families to educate. I haven't had anybody reject me yet, and then I quickly leave because it takes over my social media.
That's a fact.
Katie, it looks like you have a communications team. Do you tell them what to post, or do you create it and they post it? How does that work with your team?
Well, it's so basically if we have like a specific event that we're involved with, because my agency is the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, so we're the state highway safety office. So if it's CPS week, we give them the details and they schedule stuff ahead of time because we use Hootsuite, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as far as so unless it's an event that we're like sort of directly involved with, I just put something in the chat, we have so many counties in Georgia. So if it's like, say, a local Safe Kids chapter or something that, that's doing the car seat check, they handle that, promotion on their own. So if it's just a local event.
Gotcha. Thanks. Erica, do you want to share any more about maybe some of these other hot topics? Do you do CPS in addition, or do you do separate topics? Do you do, pediatric health, care, or do you do just car seats? How do you do that?
Hello, everyone. Sorry, you see all my car seats behind me. The main focus is the seat check event, but we'll have other groups participating. So like when it was COVID, for sure, we had individuals doing rapid COVID tests and sharing information on COVID. In the warmer months, like now, we will also have information on heat stroke and maybe bring a team from the local children's hospital to discuss or share information from their programs. So that's what I meant, like the hot topics. Not actually referencing the heat though, because I am in Mississippi, but hot topics. Now, if there is, and I know I look young, but I'm behind on the times, y'all. If there are popular songs or dances, we may invite the youth out and play that music and someone streaming it live. So that's what I meant about like the popular culture. As long as it doesn't create an issue, a clash between groups, whoever may be attending. So that's it.
Great job. That's awesome.
I have a follow-up question, I guess for both Erica and Anna, when you're talking about streaming things live. I'm curious, who is that? Usually coalitions or local organizations who are doing it, or is it individuals? And my other question related to that is, how do you handle privacy concerns, people who are showing up to events or might be in the background that don't want to potentially be on that?
So as for when individuals are going live, they'll show like the setup area, the music may be playing, whatever we're offering that day, but they'll only display the staff. We will utilize the local Safe Kids Coalition, but unfortunately in Mississippi, we only have 2 active coalitions. So there are other outreach groups that have technicians that will get together for these joint efforts.
Same. It's pretty much like the ones that are streaming live are normally like our hosting agencies, which is probably like law enforcement. And they pretty much just record staffing and not really where the families and the children's are, but more like the setup area and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I just want to share, I love the idea, because I feel like that's one of the potential barriers is people want to know what they're getting involved in. Like, it's scary to go somewhere and not know what to expect if you've never been to a seat check event or had your seat checked. So seeing it actually and realizing it's not threatening, I really love that idea.
This is awesome, guys. This is exactly what we were hoping for today, to get some really great conversation going and just a sharing of ideas. I think that was one of the biggest thing that came up from feedback from the coordinators that we've spoken with, is that everybody would just like to hear what others are doing. So this is great. We love you guys sharing this stuff, and it's really helpful. I think you're going to find that it'll impact a lot of others who are looking for ideas too. I'm going to jump ahead to the next one. And this is always a very interesting one, so I imagine we'll get some conversation going here, and that is, how are you able to assist technicians in keeping their certifications current?
And I'm happy to jump in here and share some of what North Carolina does, just to get you all thinking. There's really kind of two things that we do. One related to the CEUs. Whenever possible, we want people to get their CEUs in person. So we actually design like a one-day CEU class that we take to more rural places in the state. And we do those maybe like 3 or 4 times a year. And we're really trying to target those technicians that are from smaller agencies, can't get to either a national conference or even a state conference where they're also offered because of travel budgets or low staffing, and they can't afford to leave the office for multiple days. So that's one thing we do. We just bring an instructor team, 4 or 5 of us, go in for a day, do the education, get everybody their CEUs, and then leave. That's one thing we do. And then the other thing that North Carolina has really embraced is the proxy program, so that we don't have to rely on just our 50 instructors with over 3,000 technicians to try to get everybody their seat sign-offs. We use proxies pretty heavily that then can be, again, more in the rural areas, in areas where it might be harder for technicians to get to an instructor, which are more heavily concentrated in the urban areas.
Kristel, can I ask a quick follow-up question about your CEU days? Do you do all 6 CEUs, and do you do a car seat check too, so you can do the sign-offs, or how do you create that agenda for the day? Do you fit it into an 8-hour work day? What do you do?
Yeah, so we typically do we do 4 sessions, a little over an hour and 15 minutes each, so that they each count for an hour and a half CEU. So yes, we want them to walk away with all 6 of their CEUs as long as they were there all day. And we take a break for lunch, and it's lunch on your own. And we find community partners that let us go there for free. So it's literally just staff time is what we're spending, and some travel for staff, depending on how far away it is from our home base. And what we really try to focus on is the hands-on stuff, because they can watch a PowerPoint online. So we really try to get them moving around, touching new seats, dealing with new technology, anything we can to get them thinking as a team, working with other people, and really doing things. And we're always happy to share. We've shared with multiple states our agenda, including all of our, whatever items that they need, not car seats, but as far as like what we're doing, we're happy to share that. And we are 100% open to doing an event to get the seat sign-offs, but we need a community partner to help us with that on the organizing side. And that so far hasn't happened. And I will say North Carolina is very heavily permanent checking station focused. So our events, the public just knows to contact the checking station and go when they need to go. So they don't really show up to events very well. So that was one of the questions I was very curious about, was what people are doing to get people to show up, because we have a really hard time in North Carolina unless it's very hyper-focused. Like we did some events in Western North Carolina to help people who were impacted by Helene, and those were well attended. But, just your general showing up at a Target parking lot, not so much.
Quick question to the group. There's a lot of great chatter going on, but along this idea about keeping technicians certified and current, how do you kind of combat the last minute, hey, I'm recertifying tomorrow, how do I fix this? Does anybody have some really great ideas there? So I'll let you think on that for a second, but Michelle, you've had your hand up. Can you share with us what's on your mind?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it sounds like we're doing something similar as a lot of you guys. Oregon is a big state. I mean, we're not Texas, but it's it's kind of a big state with not a huge population. So we really struggled finding a time to get people together, and we got hit really hard by COVID, and we're still feeling the after effects, 4 years later, with our community coalitions and agencies not hosting things. So one thing that we started 2 years ago and we're doing again this year is doing like a traveling state conference. So first year we hit 3 regions kind of down our interstate corridor, basically. And then the last year we have 5 different regions that we hit. So hopefully most of the state was getting access to events. And with that one, we do 3 CEU presentations in the morning. We bring breakfast for people. They get 3 CEUs in the classroom. Then we cater lunch. And then after the lunch, then we have a in-person seat check. So a lot of these places that don't have car seat checks that are happening, that allows them to get at least half of their CEUs complete, their community education requirement, and hopefully a bunch of seat sign-offs. We bring a bunch of instructors and proxies on that one. So that helps. And then I will say we do struggle with recertification still, even with that. So we're trying to get somebody in a position here to be a coordinator to help build those little agencies and outside things back up. We're really big in the Portland metro area, but outside of our metropolis, we're lacking in those rural communities. So that's a focus of ours. So I'd like to hear more about what you guys have. Any ideas? Oh, and we also, I will say, sorry, one more thing. I know I'm talking a lot. I've been sharing the CPS board resource of the car seat checks sign-offs that can be done online. So I've been sharing that in our monthly newsletter to folks. So, and I also do them virtually or in person, and so a lot of our other instructors or proxies. But thank you guys for offering that resource also.
So much good stuff. Anna.
So we as well do a lot of the things that have been mentioned, like a statewide conference. But one of the things that we do is the seat sign-off events. So we have a state agency that goes around and does seat sign-off events throughout the state. So they're traveling in different areas, some of the rural areas that don't have proxies, because we are very low on proxies. And they try to target these areas to be able to get these people to come and attend their seat sign-offs. But also what we do also have is a couple of agencies at the state and some at the local levels that do assist with recertification fees. So as long as they're meeting their criteria, which means like they have to be not only come out to one event, maybe they have like certain amount of events they have to be attending so that they can qualify for assistance with the recertification fees.
Thanks, Anna. And that's so cool. Shanita, you want to jump in? Or I'm sorry, Erica, I apologize. I was trying to find the hands. It's so tiny.
No problem. So here in Maine, we do a few different things, but 2 that kind of first came to mind when this question was asked. The first answer is that as the coordinator for the program, I'm reaching out every single month to all of our techs that have upcoming expiration dates. So I try to reach out to them about 4 to 5 months before they are going to expire. And I pretty much just email them asking like what support they need. Do they need help with getting CUs? Do they need help with seat sign-offs? Things like that. And really just trying to walk them through the process and giving them all the resources that they need. So that's one of the things that we do here in Maine. And then the other thing, which is actually pretty new, we just made a new page on our website, on our Maine Bureau of Highway Safety website, that we have all of our child passenger safety technician resources, which includes like recertification requirements, online CEU options, things like that. So it's really just one page on our website where techs can go to get all the information that they need in order to recertify. So whether it be webinars, trainings, anything that they need. A lot of it is all posted on our website page, and then we send that website out, the website link out to all of our techs through emails, and letting them know that, hey, this is a resource page for you. And that seems to be really, really helpful this year, and we have had a lot of great feedback about it. So those are just the two major things that kind of came to mind.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Erica. I'm going to butcher your name, and please correct me when I do so. So Shanita?
No, you said it perfectly.
Yes!
The cut and everything. So, oh, I wish I can give you a gold star, honestly.
I will take it. Thank you.
So I feel like very honored because we are kind of like right on par with the same thing as the previous speakers have said. Here in Louisiana, we have a statewide CPS coordinator who his job is to like monitor the technicians and help with the events. So we have our state split up into 9 regions, and so we have 9 regional coordinators. So the state coordinator is in charge of the 9 regional coordinators. So just like I think Erica said, 6 months out, like 6 months out, we start pinging them and say, hey, you have your qualifications are due, you know, you need to recertify. And within each region, they are responsible to have at least 4 events per year. So if they're not able to get to that event, we use Seat Check Saturday, where we have taken on as a state to hold on that Saturday events across the state in various regions. We go to rural areas as well as metropolitan areas. So if someone that's in a rural area that hasn't been able to get their sign-offs on that Saturday, they can come there because there's a plethora of events that they can pick to get those checks. And then we also offer once a year, usually in June or July, our CPS conference, where we give the CEUs there as well. We do the teachings and give the CEUs. So there's plenty of opportunity. And, you know, if they come up on that 1 month and we see that, you know, because this also takes effort. You know, if we're contacting you and asking you if you need help, is there anything that we need, and we're not really getting a response from you, that means that you're, you know, probably not interested. But for those people who really reach out or respond and we have dialogue with, we really go to a lot of effort to make sure they get their CUs and recertification taken care of.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Tracy.
I actually had a question for Michelle in Oregon. I was just curious how many folks she gets to attend her annual tech update or event.
So last year we had about a third of our technician population attend one of the 5. So I feel like that's pretty good turnout, a third of our technicians. Maybe a little bit less, but almost a third.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. There was one question that came in. We wanted to throw it out to the group and maybe get some thoughts as well. And that was, can states share how they communicate with their technicians throughout the state? I'm finding that many emails send me a bounce back and several don't seem to get to my emails. We are exploring using some other email automation with Constant Contact or other platforms. So is there some methods that you guys have found that have been successful?
This class is super.
We do have a note in the chat from Aubrey. She has a private Facebook group for the, I'm assuming, for the techs in her state. She just specified. So the techs in her state have a Facebook group where they can communicate.
Perfect. Any other thoughts or suggestions other than good old-fashioned email that so many people tend to ignore these days? So Erica, same in Maine. Awesome.
Jim asked if anybody was texting.
This is Jason in Nebraska.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
Hey, one thing I do is I try to talk to as the state coordinator, every class, whether it's through just a short video or go to the classes. And I also make note that it's very important that they keep their email up to date in the profile because it is the only way to contact them. And I download the list frequently because they change all the time. That's one thing. And we do here in Nebraska, we do have a private Facebook page too that is administered by one of our instructors, and several have gotten in on that. We do have a constant contact newsletter that we put out. So that's another one that get it. And then I also asked the technicians in the class if they, and we are a little bit smaller state, we have 360 technicians, not 1,000. So some of this might be easier for me because it is smaller. And then I also asked them if they have a secondary email because there's only one email in the profile. And if they have a secondary email, I have them send that to me, and I keep a list and try to include a secondary email, like a home email or a different work email. So that's some of the stuff that I've done to try to eliminate the bounce backs, but they're out there. So
it does happen. Awesome.
And then
Thank
I
you,
also in the subject matter, I try to put a little bit more in the subject of what it is. If we're looking for technicians for an event, I might say what city is, what date, what time. So then they can just see in that subject whether if it's something that they want to. If I say important, open, read now, it's a must. I've done stuff like that. And I think how you do that subject can help too versus just a generic subject that's okay. But
fantastic. Thank you. Looks like Jim is sharing a link to looks like newsletter. Jim, feel free to jump off mute and join us here.
I have a follow-up question for those who are doing the private Facebook groups. Like, we find in North Carolina that a lot of our technicians, especially those in the fire services, are very young. Do you all find that those individuals, your younger technicians, are engaging on Facebook, or is there another platform that I don't think there's really anything that is similar to a Facebook group. So I'm just curious if you're seeing all the generations participating.
I guess not, but that's a great question.
Tracy, you got your hand up.
I'm good. I think I might have just hit that twice. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank
you.
I
have the same things going on. It seems like it's the never-ending tech research. I feel like we're doing a monthly newsletter. We're doing bi-monthly webinars, and a lot of every other webinar we just do open and roundtable just to provide an opportunity to engage with our instructors. We're doing our annual tech update. We're inviting people to things, and it just seems to come down to that never ending trying to get folks to not wait till the last minute or get their research steps done sooner rather than later.
And don't feel bad, guys, because even here at Graco, all of our engineers are certified, and it never fails. They're reaching out to us like 2 days before they expire. So it's a epidemic we're all dealing with, I think. So love the conversation. Let's jump along to another one. Maybe we can get some opinions here because we know there are some varying challenges. So weather can present significant challenges if indoor space is not available. What have you been able to do to help with this? So we know we have some of you who deal with some rather extreme either heat or cold. What are some of the things you can do to help out techs or checkup events, etc., when you don't have that indoor space available? Nobody's colder than you are, Mandi, so.
Oh, I think some of those northern states will give me a run for my money. Yeah, don't discount Montana and Maine. I mean, goodness.
Yeah, here in Montana, we don't make it a thing. We don't cancel anything. We've been at events where it was so hot, the mosquitoes, Great Falls, Montana, they get some mosquitoes in a certain area, and we've been in 20 below snow, and we just kind of don't make it a thing. We just roll with it and do the best we can.
I mean, I feel the pain up here in Toronto. It does not get warm till like soon. So we've been cold for a while. It's like
Erica, we
Erica's
do
got
kind of the same thing with the tents, trying to mostly just keep our paperwork dry and our distribution car seats, but tents are a good thing.
Yeah, my favorite recent story was doing it was a kickoff for Child Passenger Safety Week in September, like right as a tropical cyclone was coming through the state of North Carolina, and we were out there in the Target parking lot getting as many cars under the tents at once as possible, where it's like, your back might be wet, but the car seat and the vehicle are dry, sort of a thing, trying to make it all work.
We've all been bent in funny ways and squeezed into funny areas that we probably shouldn't have. So it's nothing new to try to squeeze under a tent, right? Amazing, guys. Continue on. So our next question, are there any additional resources that you bring to events that you have found helpful? Obviously, we have the kind of standard stuff. We bring our paperwork. I'm sure people have a supply of pool noodles and all that fun stuff, but there are other things that you bring that are useful at the events.
I think here in Texas, and especially here in El Paso, we're a border city. There's a lot of border city. So we normally try to recruit a Spanish-speaking volunteer if we don't have a Spanish-speaking tech, because that way, whenever we have parents that are Spanish-speaking, we're able to move them around to the different stations that have an only English-speaking CPST. So that's one of the resources that we provide. But then also we do in the hotter months, we do the temperature displays. So we will do like the temperature displays at a car seat event, but also when we are holding a car seat event, as parents are waiting in line, we partner sometimes with some local agencies to do like a car fit event. So car fit, as you know, it's geared for more senior drivers to adjust their driving habits, like they're checking their blind side and adjusting the mirrors. So as parents are waiting, we have car fit coordinators going through the lines, working with the parents and making sure that their seats are the distance that it should be from the steering wheel, their mirrors are in the right location to be able to see those blind spots. So we do that as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna. And I'm seeing a lot of comments about bringing toys and stuff for kids we'll get to in a second, but Mandi, is the screwdrivers a shot at a certain manufacturer that requires screws in their booster seats? Is that what we're getting at here?
Well, I wish I could say that I brought a little packet full of screws, but you can't buy those at the hardware store, which was in the webinar yesterday. But no, we leave them somewhere and they're always someplace. So we keep buying screwdrivers.
That's awesome. So a lot of you guys were also mentioning toys or different distractions for kiddos. Obviously, having the kids there and keeping them happy-ish while all this is happening can be a challenge. So you guys threw in some of the stuff. Are there other ideas or ways that you can keep these kids kind of occupied so mom or dad can get the most out of the information that you're able to provide?
Hey there, I can chime in.
Please.
Hey, this is Jennifer filling in for Kate from California. At our events, we love to have bubbles. That's something that non-trained volunteers can do. Bubbles work with even the littlest kiddos that aren't quite old enough for our coloring books and our Clifford storybooks. So a lot of things to entertain. And then just something to add to additional resources, I would say this year we were successful in putting in our state grant some additional resources for families with adaptive car seat needs. So asking for a little bit of money for some easy on vests and some of the merit locking chest clips when we come across those children with adaptive needs. Has been nice to have those at our just regular checkup events, not things that are specially scheduled just for those families, just to have them available for when we encounter one of those families.
Awesome. Thanks, Jennifer. And see, Holly, you were making the point too of just having extra bodies that are not necessarily techs, but just somebody who could help watch some of the kids and stuff. Is that something others have tried or thought of in their particular areas? one more question for you guys, and that is, what has been most challenging for you? And I know that's kind of very broadly based, but that was the whole intention of it, is we want to hear like some of what your challenges are. So please feel free to jump in. Again, nothing off limit. What has been challenging for you guys? Other than losing screwdrivers, apparently.
For the record, James, we have a whole toolkit. We keep it in a little Rubbermaid, and it's got pool noodles and screwdrivers and scissors. We just tend to misplace the screwdriver because we're out on the ground putting it together and leave them in cars.
It happens. We understand. Anybody want to share some challenges, things that you guys have been struggling with, things that maybe others have too, and just you can get the conversation kicked off, because if one is, others are. So Michelle threw out here rebuilding coalitions in rural areas. See a hand up, Carrie Lee. Again, if I butcher your name, please just slap me or something. So you came off mute, but we can't hear you. Hopefully we can get that figured out, but go ahead, Mandi.
I was just going to echo what Erica is sharing. I'm trying to find a space for a class, because it's got to have, you know, the parking lot, and do you have money to pay for it or not, or, you know, and then getting a space for 3 or 4 or 5 days, however many days you're doing your course, plus a setup day. It can be challenging. I'm wondering, for those of us that don't work for the state, are you able to partner with your state? Do you partner with your DOT? What kind of spaces are you finding that are large enough for a class and a parking lot?
I can share one thing that some of our one of our local instructors found that I had no idea existed, and they have been a great partner. There is the Moose International, the Moose people, the Moose Lodges. Their whole organization is about caring and helping for the young and old, and they let us use their space, their parking lot. It's used, you know, for community events, and so they have been a great partner. So if you have a Moose Lodge or a Moose organization in your community, they might be something that you might want to partner with.
Me too. Like Carolee, I have an excellent partnership with the Knights of Columbus. They have an older building off the beaten path, and it works perfect for our events, our trainings, and our car seat. And they too have a, you know, one of their missions is to support programs for children.
I need to come off mute too. Sorry. Shanita, you want to go ahead? We're still trying to get Carrie Lee to join us somehow. I'm not sure what's going on with technology, but.
Okay, yes. We partner with our like local fire department, EMS, police, law enforcement, as well as community centers. Like we have a YMCA around the area we partner with. There's a lot of for our like older drivers, those type of community centers, the agricultural agent, like any place that has like a large facility, we go and talk to them. But those are the most people that we can go back and are very reliable to give us their space for the time slots we need.
Excellent, thank you. Anna, you want to go ahead?
Sure. I think one of the resources that we use are like vehicle dealerships. If you schedule those car seat checks at the end of the certification to fall on a Saturday, a lot of the times they're willing to allow you to use their bay areas because they really don't use the bay areas on Saturdays. So that's been a good resource for us to be able to go in there and be indoors and then just promote it. And the vehicle dealerships are very able and willing to promote it to get people out to their lots. So that's been one of the resources that we've turned to as well for locations.
Awesome, thank you. Anybody else? Carrie Lee, I see your hand up and I'm just dying. Like, I want to hear what you have to say. If for whatever reason we can't get your audio, feel free to throw something in the chat or whatever. We can get your conversation going. We appreciate it. Any other thoughts on challenges, friends?
I think somebody put in the chat about nursing students or something about nursing. I think that's been one of the challenges for us is recertification by sectors, especially like the hospital settings. A lot of the times, actually, I just had one yesterday that it was one of those last minute she reached out. She was due yesterday for certification. She just couldn't come out to some of the events that our statewide projects were out there doing seat check sign-offs because of work. So I think that's been one of the challenges that we've had is just keeping that hospital sector certified, the staff certified there just because of the load of work that they have.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna. And Tara, I saw that you threw a really good point in the chat. Did you want to come off mute by any chance and talk that through a little bit with everybody? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Are you talking about the post-board certification?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we realized recently that we failed to update it with the new curriculum. So we had to get that paperwork all resubmitted and we're still waiting to hear back. So we're crossing our fingers that it'll be approved before an upcoming CPST course where law enforcement will attend. So I just wanted to remind anyone else that if they have it post-board certified to double check that in their state.
That's really helpful because it is a time-consuming thing to get it certified again too, right? So thank you for that. Anybody else with some challenges or anything you want to throw out for us here? It's been a great discussion today, guys. All right, so we're going to move along and see if there are any other questions that you guys have. If there are any, we're happy to answer them. If you want to throw them in the chat box, or you can just jump off mute.
And Carrie Lee put her comment in the chat.
Oh, yay. Thank you, Carrie Lee. I'm not sure what is up with my audio. I know, sorry. Brainstorming how we could find technicians who will be good partners and active volunteers. We are looking at liaison programs to get more people involved, just looking for some help. That's a really good point, is how do you guys recruit technicians? Obviously, there's a lot of volunteerism towards that, but are there efforts that you make as coordinators to try to kind of go out and recruit people that you think would be good fit or able to help out more and stuff?
I think a good way to reach out to volunteers is through coalitions, through either your Safe Kids coalitions or like we here at the Texas Department of Transportation, we have 25 different districts and each traffic safety specialist within the district has a traffic safety coalition. So they have monthly meetings and they announce it a lot of the times during their meeting when they're having events. And that's where other agencies that are hosting events are able to announce the events that are going on and recruit technicians at those coalition meetings as well.
Great, thanks, Anna. Anybody else with some recruitment thoughts? Just go down the street and start pulling people in and asking them if they want to do it.
I think one of the other recruitment, we have like a local coalition, a local foundation here that the way they pull in technicians is they pay them stipends to come out. They pay them a stipend of $100 for the event that they show up. And that is a big, she's never lacking volunteers, because that's a good draw to it. You know, pretty much it's, you come out as a technician, you don't have to do setup because she's got volunteers that do the setup and the takedown. You're just there as a technician. Your role as a technician. It's a 4-hour event, but they do 2 hours. They have the stations break in between, you know, they stagger, and they provide them lunch, and then they do the other 2 hours. So plus they get lunch and a stipend. So that's a good way to recruit volunteers.
I'll show up for lunch and a stipend. That's great. Stacy also asked another question to go along with Carrie Lee's, is we have lots of people taking the class, but they don't stay engaged afterwards. So I know that is a big challenge. I think it's been a challenge from the start of time, but any suggestions, guys, on how you keep these techs engaged and interested?
This is Jason in Nebraska. Our instructors send out a pre-class letter that explains everything, and they really talk about the recertification process. The letter, I believe, they ask for input from a work supervisor to sign it, so they talk to their supervisor and stuff like that. So we really load them on the front end what it means, not just a 3-day class, but the commitment and you know, just what's involved, and you know, how to get recertified and all that. That's one thing we do. And then I did see a question that Tara had in the chat about local kind of mini networking, and we started to do that in Nebraska. We had a couple instructors that once a quarter or twice a year, they get their group together. They try to bring in like one CEU. They usually have someone just Zoom in or something, and then they can offer them a CEU if it's long enough. They can usually talk someone into bringing a little lunch or something. But so they have started to do that here in Nebraska. So
fantastic. Thank you, Jason. Anybody else with any thoughts before we move along here, guys? Tara just threw something else into the chat here for us. So do any of your states have a CPS advisory task force or similar group? If so, what types of initiatives or activities does the group take on to support and advance CPS efforts statewide? Anybody?
We have a Texas CPS network group, which is basically instructors, and we meet quarterly at meetings. And during these meetings, we try to discuss like efforts coming up. How are we're brainstorming and challenges that are coming up, like retention. What can we do as instructors to help with retention? So that's pretty much what we do here in Texas.
Great, thanks, Anna. Lots of thumbs up from that one, so that was good. Any other thoughts or questions, guys? Again, we really appreciate all the engagement today, all the conversation. I think it's been really helpful for everybody. If there is nothing else, or while you're thinking about it, we hope to see you at the next CPS Coordinators Forum in June to hear how other states are using national trainings. And in May, we have an educator forum. If you are an instructor and want to help answering questions about the Canadian specific information in the curriculum, you can sign up at www.cpsboard.org/webinars. I wonder who's going to be answering those Canadian questions. Is car seat basics for law enforcement approved for public officer safety training in your state? Please let us know. We are working on a new resource for the car seat basics for law enforcement training page on the National Child Passenger Safety Board's website, which will share this information. We would love to have your state added to Georgia, Washington, North Dakota, Nevada, Indiana, and Alaska. If you have an update, submit the form today. And Kyndra will share that in the chat, because she's awesome like that. This CPS Coordinators Forum will be posted to cpsboard.org/state-coordinators/forum within 1 to 2 business days. Thank you so much for joining us today. This was definitely a new thought on our part to try to get some more conversation going amongst the coordinators. I thought it was some really great conversation today. We appreciate everybody joining in, sharing your thoughts and opinions, because I can promise you if one person has the question, others usually do as well. So it's great if you're willing to ask it and get the conversation started. Big thank you to a great team that we work with, Mandi, Kristel, Anna, and Kyndra. Kyndra for keeping us in line, Mandi for taking shots at our screws and booster seats. Thank you for that. Thank you again so much, everybody, for joining us today. We hope you have a safe day, and thank you for all you do to help keep child passengers and their families safe. Kyndra, we can stop the recording.